Hello, my name is Jesse Rowan, and I believe your name is Paul.
My name is Paul St. Hillaire.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
So, I'm just going to be asking you a few questions.
Okay.
My first question is, did you live in OOB during World War II?
Do I what?
Did you live in OOB during World War II?
During World War II? No. Um, I didn't come around till 1951.
So, have you been a victim of any of the catastrophic events in OOB?
I was here when the pier burnt down in the I think that was early 70s or late 60s. I was here for that. And been here for some good hurricanes, but not really catastrophic events that I can remember.
Don't stop it. Have they affected you in any way?
No, they really didn't affect me in any way.
No. If there are any things that change, that like drastically changed throughout your time living here, have you been affected anyway?
Well, I don't know what you mean, have I been affected in any way? No, there have been a lot of changes in Old Orchard since I've grown up, but none that have affected me negatively or well, maybe a lot positive, but no real negative effects.
Are there any stories about the history of Old Orchard Beach you'd like to share with us?
Well, I really don't. Well, when you say stories about the history of Old Orchard Beach, I was on the town council when I was 21 years old, and I was one of the people responsible for putting Jerry Plant on the council, as the town manager of Old Orchard, and we made quite a few changes at that point. We bought the land to build a new school on. We bought the land to build the new fire complex on, and we made some changes in Old Orchard Beach that needed to be done. I really don't understand this process, though. This is kind of redundant, don't you think?
What made you want to stay in OB as an adult?
I don't live in Old Orchard Beach currently. I live in Biddeford. We started a business here at a young age, and we grew a business here, and Maine is a good place to live, and Old Orchard Beach is a fun place to live at certain times of year.
What was that business called, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, the business evolved over a number of years, but it was basically, I started a rubbish company in Old Orchard Beach called Tri-An, Tri-AN, and then in later years that company was built and sold. We formed another company, myself and my brother, called Astro Waste Services. We built that company and sold it in the late 90s, middle 90s actually, and then we teamed up with the Blow family here on Old Orchard Beach and started another company called BBI Waste Industries, and grew that company and sold it again in 2012.
Is that company still here in Maine?
The company is still here in Old Orchard Beach. It operates under the name Casella Waste Systems, or Pine Tree Waste, which is the same company, and it still operates in the property that we still own. And when we sold the company, we did not sell any property, so we still maintain a property and lease it to the company that bought our company.
Do you miss being a kid?
Do I miss being a kid? I think every older person misses being a kid, okay?
pier look like when you first came?
The pier was, a little bit longer than it is now. And it had the original merry-go-round in it. And, but when I grew up, the pier was after the big band era. So that had come and gone as I was growing up. So it's probably 100 feet shorter than what it used to be.
What was one of your favorite places to hang out around here in Oldie?
The beach, naturally. That's why everybody comes to Old Orchard Beach.
Makes sense.
This drives me nuts.
I know. Us too.
Were there any big landmarks that people may not know about today that you'd like to share?
The bigger landmarks, the biggest one is probably the pier in my growing up. But I didn't come around, till the 50s, so I think some of the older people here will be able to give you more landmarks, such as the old kite track. Was a racetrack off Walnut Street, which was commonly called the kite track, but that was before my time. And the big bands off the pier were before my time. But there is one landmark that is still here in Old Orchard Beach. It's on Portland Avenue, at the head of Walnut Street, which a lot of people probably would not know about, and that's the what I would term as the Emerson Cummings home, because the Cummings family owned a home that used to house black performers that used to play at the pier. Because back then, there was still segregation, and a lot of blacks could not stay at a lot of hotels because they were black. And that house housed a lot of the black performers because it was tolerant of blacks at that point in history.
Did you happen to see any of the performances put on by these colored performers?
By who?
By any of the performers who were colored at the time?
No, that was before my time.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Well, I just, as we were talking about the Emerson Cummings, I call it the Emerson Cummings property because Emerson Cummings was a good friend of mine. He's long gone now, and the property may be called something different, but that is that's a piece of property that should almost be landmarked in Old Orchard as well as probably Maine because of its significance to the black performers of that era of the 30s, 40s, and 30s and 40s, which was, like I said, before my time.
What did you have any other jobs in this town?
I worked for the town of Old Orchard as a teenager, like most kids did when I was growing up. My father was the public works director at that point in time, and he hired a ton of high school kids going to school, and we cleaned the beach by hand, picked up papers by hand. The town used to pick up its own rubbish at that point in time, and I worked on a rubbish truck at that point in time. In the summertime, I worked during beach. I had many jobs during the summers, one of them cleaning the beach, one of them picking up trash.
Do you have a favorite memory in Oldie?
Yeah, the favorite memories are being young and growing up on the beach and playing on the beach.
So, if you don't mind me asking, how old were you when you came here into Oldie?
I was,
here to take pictures.
You seem confused. Do we have to do something different?
Oh, no, it's just, I don't think,
So you would just come take pictures. I
yeah,
think.
Okay.
sorry about that.
I was brought here when I was 4 years old, I believe.
So you had a lot of experiences as a child here in Obi?
Yes, I do.
Oh. What was your childhood like in Obi?
The childhood was fun in Old Orchard Beach because growing up here in the summertime on the beach is a fun place to grow up.
Did you go through the school system here in Obi or another one?
I went through the school system in Old Orchard Beach. Yes, I did.
Do you
And
have, sorry.
I graduated as a class president in 1971.
That must have been an honor.
Well, at that time it was more fun than anything else.
Was there any experiences that were unusual at the school system?
No. The school system was a lot different than it is today in the sense that the teachers were had a lot more latitude than they do today. And in that I mean that, you know, if a teacher thought you were out of line and had no issue with slapping you in the back of the head and straightening you out.
Were you one of these people to be slapped in the back of the head?
Of course I was. Everybody was. Not everybody, but everybody, you know, anybody that stepped out of line was reprimanded, you know,
Yeah.
differently than you do it today.
Yeah. What was your first job here in Obi?
The first job I had here in Old Orchard Beach was working for the town growing up in high school.
Was there anything that you particularly liked about that job?
It was a summer job, and we were outside, and you started early in the morning and got done early in the day, and had the rest of the day to goof off.
What year did you graduate high school?
1971.
Was there anything that you did after high school? Like, I don't know. That was a bad question, sorry. Like, let me rephrase that. Was there anything that you wanted to do after high school?
We didn't have a lot of choice, a lot of us kids growing up, because our parents, my parents anyway, were not wealthy or did not have a lot of money, so we had to work. I was not a college student. I mean, my grades weren't going to get me into college, so I had to work.
Do you want to ask a few questions, Ben? What other jobs did you have in Obi?
Growing up, like I said, I worked for the town during the summer months, and then when I graduated, I had a small trash route. I used to pick up trash at the local trailer parks. At that point in time, they called them trailer parks because they used to do tenting parks that were only open in the summertime.
Do you have any stories about your jobs?
Not really. It was more fun than anything. That No particular stories.
I believe I already asked you this question, but there isn't too much else to ask.
She said when we're done, we could bring them back to the library if we wanted to.
Well, I was gonna ask, is there anything else you'd like to share?
I was on the council, I got elected to the town council at a young age. I think it was 71 or 72, maybe 72. I don't remember the dates, but we, as I mentioned earlier, allocated the funds to buy the property that the new high school sits on now, and the property that the police and fire station sits on now. And we bought the property for the public works facility up off the Emerson Cummings Boulevard. And I was on the council when we hired Jerome Plant, which was very controversial at that point in time. And I think we made a difference in some of the things that we did. Looking back, at the time it was very controversial, but when I graduated from high school, the high school was in the building attached to the Ranger School.
Was Mr. Plant one of your friends?
No, he wasn't really a friend. He was, we became friends, but he was a local guy. He was a local politician that had worked and been in the state legislature and worked for state legislators.
I believe that ends it. And if you want to share anything else, feel free.
Well, I don't really know what else to share, but growing up in Old Orchard is a fun place to grow up. It's not a high crime area, and what kid wouldn't want to grow up in the sun and on the beach in the summertime in Old Orchard? Good place to grow up.
And that ends it.
Thank you.